iPhone 13 series of phones is not for you. I know that might be confusing. Some of you actually went and pre-ordered it, according to some of the people on my community tab, but it's not for you. Actually, I would say a lot of the things that were at the Apple event aren't for you either. And that became really clear to me as I was reading some of the comments as people were watching the event unfold. And I realized, like, this event isn't really for us. I mean, it kind of is, but mostly it isn't. The iPhone 13, the Apple Watch 7, maybe even the iPads. They're not for you. They're probably not even really for me. And I even bought some of them. I know you're confused, don't worry. I'll explain it all right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name's Travis and I do tech videos every single week. And today we're going to talk about the iPhone 13, 13 Pro, and all the other Apple event things. And why they're not for you. Let's get into the video. Now, some of you are confused. And if you are, that's okay. Hit the like button anyway. Hit the subscribe button anyway. Why? Because if you don't, I'm not going to tell you why it's not for you. I'm literally going to wait here until you do that. We're going to wait. We're going to wait. We're going to wait. All right, enough of that. The iPhone 13, 13 Pro, 13 Pro Max, iPhone Mini, all these things are not for you. And when I say that, I guess I'm not talking about every single person watching this video, because some of them, they are for you. Especially the ones that went out and actually paid attention to what Apple said about each of these products and has been buying Apple products kind of in the way that Apple has intended. Now, what I mean by this is I noticed when watching the event myself, like I just went to watch on my computer to enjoy the presentation. That was it. No real expectations going into it. Of course, all the spoilers were there. We kind of knew about a lot of things that were leaked. But the moment that I realized this event really wasn't for us was when the Apple Watch Series 7 was announced. And people were disappointed. A lot of this comes from leaks that happened that apparently got it wrong. Jon Prosser's talked about this on Front Page Tech, and in that he mentioned that maybe this new Apple Watch 7 is actually not supposed to be the Apple Watch 7 that we would have seen. And listen, at the end of the day, I really wasn't paying that very close attention to the leaks of the Apple Watch 7 anyway. I wasn't really going to buy it. But when they presented it, I was impressed by it. I even liked it. I always like bigger screen devices, so just having a bigger screen alone, I was in. And then add in some of the other features about it being a little bit more dirt resistant and stuff like that. Listen, I'm all in. To me, it sounds like a good product. And for the vast majority of people who will walk into an Apple store or Best Buy or wherever and see it and are told about its features, they're going to agree. And those are the people that product is for. Now, as far as the iPhone 13 goes, it's kind of the same thing. Most of us knew what it was going to be, and it's not as impressive as we would hope it would be. We're hoping the iPhone 14 is much different. But the reality is this phone wasn't made for the tech heads, for people who come onto YouTube and watch videos about smartphones. This phone was not made for us. Even though there's some really cool features in the Pro series of phones with some Pro features, it's not made for us. We watch videos on YouTube because we love them, because we like to hear more about tech. Sometimes we want to hear leaks, sometimes we want to see reviews. But let me tell you something, Apple is not sitting there concentrating on the percentage of people that watch YouTube videos about the iPhone 13. Because if they did, they would be probably closer to Samsung. Samsung is making devices in a form factor that's kind of revolutionary, something interesting, something that we can talk about, and something that gets the tech community excited. iPhones don't really get the tech community excited, but that doesn't really matter. Because in Apple's case, they're more worried about the bottom line than seeming cool to the tech community. They need to seem cool to everybody else. Because to be perfectly honest, there's a ton more people out there that don't do what we do, obsess over tech, than do. And those are the people that this device is for. Those are the people that the Apple Watch is for. Those are the people that even the iPad are for, including the iPad Mini, the thing that even the geeks are really excited about. A lot of people will say, oh, the iPhone 13 is terrible, it's boring, there's nothing new about it. It's not for you. That's literally it. It's not for you. It's a little bit like me making a chocolate cake and putting it on my kitchen table, and then you coming in, uninvited, sticking your finger across the frosting, tasting it, and going, I don't like it. Well, that's okay. It's not for you. And by the way, I'm going to make you make me another chocolate cake. How dare you come into my house and eat my chocolate cake and then talk some smack about it? How dare you? So when the complaints come up, it's a pretty easy answer. Oh, the iPhone still has a notch. Well, it's not for you. The iPhone just now is getting the 120 hertz display. Well, it's not for you. Oh, the iPhone doesn't have always on display. Well, that's okay. It's not for you. Oh, all the accessories are stupid expensive. Apple charges so much. Well, that's okay. It's not for you. If it's not for you, then who is it for? Like I said before, it's for the much larger group of people who don't care about any of those things. And for the first time in their life, will see a 120 hertz display on an iPhone, never having seen it anywhere else before. That's who it's for. We make fun in the tech community about Apple reinventing things that have been out in the industry for a long period of time. And they do this. They totally do it. All the time they do it. But they kind of iterate on it in a way that makes it their own. Even the portrait video that they're doing is kind of in a different level than the portrait video we've seen from Samsung in the past. The Samsung thing was more kind of a, listen, I don't want to say it was a gimmick, but it really was kind of gimmicky. But the Apple implementation is more for filmmakers, which is really, really cool. Doesn't necessarily make it better. It just means that it's different and, in my estimation, more usable. But it might not be for you. Some people want some type of innovation on the outside of the phone. In other words, a foldy, flippy thing from Samsung or some other manufacturer. And that's fair. Nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I agree with you. The iPhone is kind of boring. I've actually made a video about that. You should probably watch that. I'll leave a link in the description, maybe the end screen. I totally agree. It's boring, but that's okay. Because as I've stated before, being able to rely on my phone is much more important than some cool little feature that I'll use 2 times to flex on somebody. I mean, it's cool to flip my phone, I suppose, and fold it in half. That's pretty dope, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's not really doing anything extra for me. I guess I can fit it in my pocket better, but my phone fits perfectly well in my pocket. So that's good enough for me. So when the iPhone doesn't fold or doesn't have the feature that you're looking for, that's okay. It's not for you. And when the Apple Watch Series 7 comes out and it looks like all the other Apple Watches, doesn't have a new processor, doesn't look any different, and just is kind of boring, that's okay. It's not for you. The new iPhone is for people who've had their phone for several years and want to upgrade, who love iPhones, my brother and sister being those exact type of people. They love their iPhone and really don't look at other phones. They just can't wait for the new iPhone every couple of years. They upgrade every 2 or 3 years to just have the newest, coolest phone from Apple. And those that are upgrading this year from an iPhone 7 or 8 are going to see incredible changes. It's going to be a massive upgrade. And to them, it's super cool and it's cutting edge. For you, you might think, well, that's the same form factor they've had since the iPhone 10. And that is basically true. But again, it's not for you. It's for the grandmas out there that just want a smartphone to be able to easily video chat with their grandkids, especially in this time of a pandemic. And FaceTime does that for them. The iPhone's for them. It's for the people who don't necessarily care about completely customizing their phone, of which there's tons. They just use it as a tool, not as some type of way to flex on their friends or fold it up or do whatever. Like, they don't care. They don't care. They just want something that works, looks good, functions great, has a great battery life, and that's about it. But it's not necessarily for the people who need the most cutting-edge technology. And that's not even completely true, because the iPhone has the most cutting-edge processor, period, in all of the mobile space. Just period, end of story. And yeah, they lock you into the ecosystem, and iOS may be boring, and it doesn't have really cool features, and they're 3 years behind everything. Yeah, I get it. That is partially true. I kind of agree with you, actually. But that's okay. It's not for you. But interestingly, and maybe even ironically, some of the same people that cover some of the world's most incredible technology, especially here on YouTube, well, they do use iPhones. Sometimes as their primary phone. Maybe it's for them. So you might question why Apple doesn't innovate. And why isn't it for you? Why isn't it for the people, the millions of people who are on YouTube and really obsessed over the tech? Well, because the numbers don't lie. Samsung seems to be really interested in making the tech heads super happy with their hardware. And that's cool. That's dope for us, I suppose. Apple's more worried about the bottom line. And the proof is in the pudding. Case in point, the last quarter of 2020, Apple sold an incredible 79 million devices, 79 million phones. Samsung, who does all types of flippy foldy things, sold 62 million. So I don't know if it's me. Am I worried about impressing you and all the tech heads on YouTube? Or do I just want to sell more phones? And that's why a lot of times the iPhone isn't for you. And there's really nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. I hope that makes sense. And I got some videos here I hope you'll check out. I'll see you next time. Peace and love.